control, NAFDAC, under the current Director-General, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, disrupting the businesses of our members in the wines and spirits sector. This action is not only inimical to the profitable operation of the companies affected, which would in turn boost the country's GDP, it also mirrors the agency and governments generally in negative lights. The decision to curiously ban the production and sale of alcoholic beverages packed in sachets and small PET bottles is in flagrant disobedience to the earlier directive from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, VIDNAS/10 HR CT.33/77C of 14th March 2024, wherein in the House, after all-inclusive consultation, meeting with key stakeholders through public hearing, restrain NAFDAC from embarking on such ban and describe it as anti-people. Meanwhile, rather than abide by the resolution of the House and directives from the SGF office, NAFDAC bided its time and chose to rely on a letter resolution of the Senate that not only seclude other stakeholders but also fails popularity test. We have, therefore, approached the Senate and we trust that distinguished members of the Red Chambers will reconsider the matter after further consultations. This issue is truly disturbing as operators are now thrown into serious confusion on which directive to follow in the face of conflicting directives from different authorities of governments. It is important to note at this junction that the sale of alcoholic beverages in sachet and PET bottles was not intended to have a negative impact on Nigerians. Rather, it was an innovation to serve the segment of the adult population with low budgets, who also desire the product and should be allowed the rights of choice. The ban would therefore deny them the opportunity to exercise their fundamental rights of choice. Contrary claims by NAFDAC that sachet alcohol beverages encourages abuses, availability in small portions discourage abuses that are usually associated with bigger containers. Equally important to note is the fact that alcohol served in sachets by local producers is produced under hygienic conditions and certified by the regulatory agencies, including NAFDAC. We would like to further place on record that the untested and unverified assertion of abuse by minors as the basis for the ban has been controverted by credible and empirical research that was independently conducted. Industry operators have gone further, notwithstanding the report of the survey, to initiate series of campaigns in respect of responsible alcohol consumption to discourage underage use and other abuses. These has so far cost them substantial amounts of money, running into over R1 billion on advert placements. In major news outlets across Federation, the results have so far been very impactful in discouraging abuse by underage persons and has deepened the access restriction landscape. Therefore, the Coalition for Nigerian Change Movement, however, remains steadfast in supporting pragmatic measures to remove unsafe products from the markets. We only maintain that such decision should be supported by the empirical facts and not emotional persuasions or appeals to public sentiments. To succumb to this scenario is a costly mistake, as it compromises jobs and livelihood and activities, grave intended consequences. We therefore caution that this unnecessary action of NAFDAC is detrimental to the survival of the concerned industries operators of Nigerian origin. More so that it comes at the expense of the job and livelihood of workers and all those involved in the value chain. This decision is counterproductive because it will open up the market for illicit, substandard, and unregulated products. It will further leads to an influx of imported alternatives, mostly smuggled, thereby denying governments of substantial revenue collectible from the companies and also deny low-income consumers access to the products. Finally, we hereby appeal to the federal government to prevail on NAFDAC to cease forthwith the unwarranted disrupt of legitimate activities leading to closure of factories and abide by the directive to suspend the illegal enforcement. I remember humble self, Ambassador Kelvin Akerele, convener the Coalition of Nigerian Change Movement.